to an episode of Glee. I mean, they even said, like, after Ellen, lesbian blogging community, like, they got it. They knew we were talking about them. So for me, that was the moment. So I'm curious when it was for you guys.
Oh yeah, I mean, definitely Glee really put it on the map. I mean, this is a relationship that didn't exist before the outpouring of fandom was like, we want to see these cheerleaders make out. And, you know, it started as like a throwaway joke, but evolved and became like one of the most, you know, defining lesbian romances, marriages of network television of the 2000s. So it was a really like interesting trajectory. I mean, that was the first time when I was like, whoa, this is a big deal.
For me, I think my first one was probably the Buffy fandom. I remember just going on to like fanfic forums back in the day. I can't remember what it would have been. I think it was before, yeah, probably GeoCities. Oh yeah, that was pretty it. And that was the first time, firstly because my name is Tara and I was really into that. I was like, my shit. The first time that I ever started interacting with other fans about it, I think prior to that, you know, I shipped a few things, but there wasn't really something on mainstream TV that I'd found that represented me. So that was probably the first one, and not the last.
I was admittedly way later to the game. I didn't really notice it. My site has only been around like 3 years, so we started covering the 100 and the way that the fans collected. Sorry. Then I realized I should be covering more Canadian TV, which is much more open. But I think so. It was really White on Earth, like in the way that Way Hot just like blew up after episode 2 for me. So I was much later to the game.
And for me, obviously, as a creator, I came from it from a different angle. But it was definitely just seeing the response to Beau and Lauren in Lost Girl. It was massive. And you really saw this kind of hunger and this desire for people to see themselves represented on television as succubi. All the succubi were like, finally! But it was just massive, and you saw these really, especially like genre fans who were like, yeah, we are LGBT and we're genre fans, and finally something has been made for us. Thank you. But don't screw it up. Thank you. But we hate you. We love you. All that. It was a rich tapestry. Yeah.
You know what? You guys get.
Thank you. So guys, let's talk about 307. It's all connected. Lex's death. And how that impacted fandom. I mean, as an entertainment writer, and I've been writing about television and all this stuff for 5 years, I have never seen anything like this. And do you think it was just the straw that broke the camel's back? Because things have it feels like everything is different now. And let's start with you, Tara.
Yeah, I also feel like it was a ship that people really, really connected to. And it was definitely the first one that I saw to that level on Twitter. I mean, you talk about the flamingo migration or the flamingo effect. We sort of follow them to fandoms. And I remember being in that first fandom, which was like the Orphan Black and Clone Club. And then we went to Carmilla, and then the second we saw Lexa and we jumped over onto the 100, and everyone was so excited and so into it, and she was such an incredible character. People were immediately connected and interested and obsessed. So when we got to that point, the fandom was already so big and people were already, you know, communicating and talking and making such incredible art and incredible videos that it just sort of had to happen. That was definitely the last straw, but also, could it have been anyone else? I'm not sure.
That's a really good question. Like, could it have been? I don't think so. But no, I mean, yeah, it could have been. I don't think so.
I mean, especially the Clexa, and of course Clexa is across all ages, but I feel like the age group of people in their 20s, people who watched The 100 in high school. I'm in my 30s, so I came to it a little bit later, but everyone, you have that kind of defining queer ship or queer characters that you see at such an impressionable age, they just stick with you. Like for us, it's Buffy, and it's Willow and Tara, and it's Buffy. But for this younger generation, it's Clexa. And because this younger generation is so much more active on social media, they're on Twitter, Snapchat, they're on everything. When 307 happened, I think everyone who was invested was on social media, and everyone was pissed. And this was after losing like so many like year after year of losing all of these characters. It really truly was the straw that broke the camel's back.
Oh, sure. Yeah. What could possibly go wrong? I was going to trash some other writers. No. No, I will admit that I didn't watch the 100, but I certainly had heard about it, and it was just exploding because of this relationship. I did like a funny tweet when I heard that it happened, which I totally copped to, because I was like, wow, they are gonna eat it like you can't even believe. I did know that, and I was like, oh my god. I think the thing that was interesting from a creator point of view was, without making excuses for everyone, I really don't know if they understood what they had done. And you're like, well, I hate that answer so much. No, I will say this, it was interesting that it was obviously, there had been certain efforts made to court the community, and then I think it was painful because the community got betrayed, and personally it was hard because there were a lot of young people who were really invested in the relationship, so that was quite painful to watch on social media, to be totally honest. And someone who I know was really instrumental in talking about it was Mo Ryan, who has been here, and she really was one of the first journalists who kind of said, she's napping, she's so lucky. No, but she really deserves credit, I think, just for recognizing what a betrayal this had been, and that this wasn't going to go away. This was something that really was the straw, as you said, that broke the camel's back, and people were going to yell about it, and they should yell about it, so.
I would add to that, like, really wasn't aware of the trope. Like, I wasn't aware until the 100. And it was people like Mo, and all of a sudden it seemed like everyone was talking about it. And even a lot of writers I've spoken to had no idea, like, about the trope, which I thought was interesting. And yeah, they saw the impact of what it was doing to social media, and I think it really just helped get everybody else start, hey, this is a thing. Like, you guys all knew that was a thing, like, we didn't know it was a thing. So, yeah.
Well, let's keep with you, Bridget, because... So, as a straight ally, you've actually been very connected to the queer fandom, especially through Winona Earp. What do you think sets it apart from other fandoms?
Just the passion. Like, I feel like, I don't know, like, we hear, like, shipping wars between straight couples, but, like, I don't know, I was always like, I'm Team Angel, like, but I never felt like I needed to fight.
I switch seats.
She's cooking
I still watch Bones every now and then, see David Frey. But, yeah, so, what was this?
I was just gonna ask you. Yeah.
Yeah, I guess I just didn't understand, like, when Hot showed up, like, I really didn't understand why that was such a big deal, or why, so,
It's because she opened a door in Shorty's, but it was inside every queer girl's heart.
Yeah, and then I realized that, and then just, like, so many fans, like, hearing, because I got so much feedback from the Winona Earp community, and, like, just hearing, like, how important it was. I just realized how much I didn't know and I didn't understand.
But what I love about you is that you educate yourself, and you're the best about that. And I've always appreciated that. She's a really terrific ally. So, speaking of allies, Emily. So as you mentioned, you've been in direct contact with the fandom like since the Lost Girl days. And I think you've been one of the most respectful and engaged creators with the queer fandom community, so I thank you for that. And I think part of that is because when you don't just listen to fans, you hear it, like in your bones, like you get it, and that's really special. And I think that's why there are so many fandresses out there, which you can buy a T-shirt of at.
No, we can't. We can't.
Oh, I see one right there, though.
Stand up.
But so, what does it mean to you to have such a close relationship to social media, and how has it changed for you from Lost Girl to Winona Earp?
I really appreciate you saying that, but like, I would be remiss if I didn't say that. Like, I feel like I personally have had missteps and also had to learn along the way. Like, I absolutely did. Just when you're writing things that are dramatic, sometimes you still make mistakes. So I may be here and I'll tell you things I would have done differently in the past. What has changed? I just think that there is a recognition that the LGBT community is, as I said yesterday in my panel, like polite but terrifying, which is amazing. But it's incredible. This is a really educated, generous, warm community that wants to see themselves represented in a way that is respectful, and they will make their voices heard, and they will move, for the most part, as a group. They will migrate as a group to support things very passionately that they think are done well. I just think like social media in general has grown from Lost Girl to Wine on Herb, so I just think there is a platform now that is also taken more seriously by decision makers, so by the networks and producers and whatnot, for you to make your voices heard. So it's just honestly volume and organization, you know? I guess that's it. That people know the LGBT community also do speak to each other and just communicate what shows they want to support and what's important to back, and that is really important, I think. Just to say, we're here, we are watching, so please make more of this for us immediately.
So I apologize for having to read this, but my brain can't fit any more like memorization in it at the moment. So some people think fans may have gotten a bit too powerful, or at least they think we have, and have I can't even read my own writing here. This must have been really early in the morning, and that some folks are pretty quick to come down on behavior that, and it's because fans are quick to come down on behavior that they find stereotypical or manipulative. And like the whole like calling out, bearing your gaze, I mean, that's our job, right? Some creators, some people in the industry seem to think that will make future writers and showrunners less likely to produce queer content and characters. And well, to that I say, if that's the way they feel, I don't want those people writing those things, you know? But I'd like to know what all your thoughts are on that.
Well, I think the thing you need to remember is that all of these bad tropes exist for straight couples as well, but there's so many of them that no one has to call them out because they can just switch to another channel and watch Great Rep. So when we get very passionate about one of 17 lesbian or bisexual characters on TV, which I think is the statistic, but I'm not the statistic person in my group. Someone is. Someone will call me out on that. When there's only 17 and 2 of them are dead, and then the other ones are all crazy bisexuals or whatever else they can come up with that's on every other show, we have to call it out because we can't go to another ship, we can't go to another character. And if that's a negative and they're not going to, like you said, if they're not going to write about it, then I really, really don't want them to, because do it right or don't do it at all.
Also, and when you say that, it reminds me, when Glee was on, Glee had a major, the writers had that major backlash when they were...
That's why they did the Cheerio thing on the floor. I'm positive about it.
Yeah, exactly. So it's like, you see, but what was nuts to me was writers in the Glee writers' room were like tweeting back and getting into it with fans, and it was like, number one, dude, know your audience. By the way, no surprise, the combative, angry Glee writers were straight men. Who knew? They're white. So combative, masculinity so fragile. But number one, like as a writer, it's like, dude, know your audience. Like show some respect. You wouldn't have a job if it weren't for your fans. So if they're calling you out on something, like maybe listen to them. It's okay to disagree, but like don't get into Twitter wars with fans. You're a professional, like if I was if I was the boss of that room, that person would have been fired. Like that's unacceptable behavior. And I do think that, again, we should listen to fans, and we should, because you wouldn't have a show without fans, and you wouldn't have it without people who watch. So there has to be a sense of respect and open-mindedness to that. You don't have to agree with everything they say. You don't have to implement every single fan request, but it should be a mutually respectful arrangement. And the thing is, when people respect the community respects them. And there's no fan group that's more loyal than LGBT fans. No one more loyal. So,
I think you have to jump back in a bit there to queer baiting as well. You sort of almost touched on it. But when these writers' rooms are using those fans on the same mediums, on the same platforms, that then they're like, oh no, now they're really angry at us on Twitter. We just tweeted 5 times that, this ep was going to be only about Sanders. You can't call us out on that, because we can just immediately call you back out on, doing the same thing to us.
And I think that's why Lex's death stung so bad. Because that room, they courted queer fans. They were pushing the Clexa Portmanteau agenda. So when it's like giving you something with one hand and slapping you in the face with the other, so.
I also think there's a difference of power when it comes to getting really passionate over something like a shipping war versus
using more power as a fandom or as queer people to educate these writers about what's going on, because I think so many, I was unaware, but so many TV writers were so unaware of these tropes, and if that's what your power is going to do is educate people, how is that a bad thing? That's nothing but good, so.
Fans. I'm pro.
Fans, love them.
Ain't got nothing but love for your fans.
Talking about
respect for fans.
we're talking about creators who are I'm not going to create your gay stories.
Yeah. Oh, that's such bullshit. I'm so bored. Sure, whatever, but just don't tell any story with anyone diverse ever. Fine, good luck. It's so boring. Please give me another male anti-hero in his 40s who's got a beautiful wife and is sad because he's making $100,000 instead of $200,000 this year. It's so sad.
You really want to get that off your chest.
I'm sorry. Did you guys see Black Widow? No, and this is the truth as well, as that's a double-edged sword. I think you got to put your money where your mouth is as a fandom. Love what you love, but turn the TV off. If something doesn't respect you, please don't support it. There's 500 other scripted shows, and more, these aren't. It's not the 70s or the 80s. It's not 30 million people are going to watch MASH, are going to watch Winona, or next year maybe 27 million. With you guys maybe, but. We have to find other ways, as a fandom, to tell the powers that be that we love a show and support a show, so you have a choice, do you know what I mean? If people aren't telling diverse stories, or aren't hiring diversity behind the scenes, which is another thing, the best part about social media is we can call people out on that stuff now, you know what I mean? You can't hide, we know, whatever. My one rule is just try to be respectful. Especially with things like cast. Cast are beautiful, beautiful puppets. None of them are here. And they're super good looking. And some of them are smart. But I just mean, but truly, honestly, that's my own personal rule, is I'm pretty sure the Clexa girls did what they could to the best of their abilities, given the circumstances, right? Yeah, so, I don't know, it goes both ways. I just think if you court a fandom, you do have to listen to them. You can't have both ways.
I think this is just a point I want to make that Emily just brought up. If you are upset with something, if you don't like the way a show is treating you, you have to turn it off. Yeah. You can't just DVR it and then hate watch it, Because, you can, but it's sending a signal. I think it was pretty clear a couple weeks ago when ratings came out that you made an impact on a particular show by not turning it on, right? Yeah. So, that is, in a way, putting your money where your mouth is, because your ratings translate to money. So Tara, this is for you. For a community who has spent so much of its life feeling powerless, only in the last couple of decades have we actually gotten a foothold, We felt so powerless in so many ways, but how do you think we can take this growing voice and make it a positive and fruitful movement?
Yeah, I think it's all, along with what Emily was saying, that we do have to support the shows that we love just as much as we have to call out the ones that are doing it very badly. That's what the shows are about, It's about, paying attention to what is good rep and what's bad rep, and when it is fantastic and when it is great, turn on the TV, watch it, and I don't know, I guess that is the positive that we're taking out of it. And by creating all these statistics and getting all this research done about all of the shows, the ones that are doing it well, the ones that are doing it poorly, we can make those decisions well, and yeah, I guess that's it. One of the things that we're working on at the moment is a TV scoring system. So we're basically watching every show that's running on network TV in America, and we're scoring it not just on how many characters there are, but how much rep and what is good rep and what tropes are in it. And I think if we can just keep working towards educating the public and educating the writers about when it is bad and what tropes are going to get that kind of backlash, we can move forward positively.
Since this all happened, and I'm keeping on you with this, since this all happened last year, what shows do you think have been the most responsive?
To the backlash?
To the backlash and to the social media conversation, besides Winona Earp.
Well, yeah, that is definitely one of them. I think Winona Earp, I think Carmilla has been really great about it. They were great beforehand. You know, anyone that's doing a lot of web series like that have been really cool about not just supporting the movement, but you know, doing interviews and talking about the issues with the people that are going to listen and the people that are going to matter. I can't even really think about how many other shows we have on that are doing it really well right now. I mean, Sanders is good rep, and I'm really positive about that. For now.
Orphan Black.
Yeah, and Orphan Black, I mean, they had some issues for a little while there, but I think, yeah, we've got the new season coming out, so we'll see there as well. I'm so cautious about like making a judgment pre-seeing it, because I mean, we all didn't think it was going to go where it was going to go with Flexa either.
So Emily, as someone who is in the position that you're in,
Next to Bridget.
as a creator, what makes the biggest impact for you, social media-wise?
Oh, there's so much. I think just seeing all the positive stuff on Twitter and the hashtag, like I go through the hashtag and see what everyone's saying, so keep that in mind.